Greetings. It is July 15th, 2012. I am with Under the Wings of God drawing number 10, which I drew in 1992, probably that summer, July, August. It was the 10th drawing in the Under the Wings of God series, based on 5 photographs, which I'll show in a moment, all from the book Warsaw Ghetto, 45th Anniversary of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, published by Interpress in Warsaw, Warszawa, in 1988 in Poland, which I bought a copy of sometime after that Polish edition, Warsaw Ghetto. And the photos are in the chapter titled Fire, if I'm pronouncing this right, Ogniem in Polish. This is one of the 5 photos taken by a Nazi soldier, perhaps more than one soldier, who were documenting the destruction of the ghetto in May 1943, which is also looked at by Jewish history and those concerned with anti-oppression worldwide and human rights history and anti-genocide work worldwide today, as a great and heroic struggle on the part of the 700 or so young people, including kids, who fought against the Nazis, poorly armed, no military training, not to win, which they knew was impossible, but to die with dignity and kill some hated German and Austrian Nazi soldiers along with them. There were about 50,000 Jews alive in the ghetto at the time. It began on April 19th, which was the first night of Passover, one of the most important holidays in the Jewish religious and ritual calendar, and generally observed by Jews, both religious of all denominations and secular Jews among them. And in the Warsaw Ghetto, there were Jews of kind of every religious persuasion and political persuasion: Zionists, anti-Zionists, leftist, socialist, communists, and so on, and anti-communists, and so on. The figure in the center was drawn from a photo of a woman who looks like she's hanging on to a balcony. That's her here. Some years later, after I did the drawing, I came across a book I hadn't seen before in the history of the Warsaw Ghetto. The same photo was there, and it mentioned that the woman who, in the drawing, whose wings I've defined entirely by negative space, the wings themselves aren't drawn, our eyes visually play tricks with us, that she was actually survived the landing on the sidewalk pavement, was captured by Nazi soldiers, and was eventually murdered in a concentration camp. The man at upper right here, whose wings are not drawn from birds' wings, as I did with the Under the Wings of God drawings numbers 1 through 9, which preceded this one earlier in the year 1992. And Under the Wings of God drawing number 1, the Murno trolley in the Warsaw Ghetto, which was done in December 1991. It's entirely with pointillist dots in the ink, decorative imagery. These 2 men from these 2 photos here, and I can speculate that they may have jumped out of the buildings just to die a less painful death than being crushed and or burned alive in the buildings which the Nazis were going in block by block, destroying with heavy weaponry, tanks, flamethrowers, aerial bombardment. It took them longer to crush the uprising through May. Began again on April 19th, April 20th being Hitler's birthday, so it was planned not only because of Passover, but as a birthday present by the general in charge of the destruction, a birthday present for Hitler. But it took them longer to destroy this group of fighters, during which time thousands of people died and thousands were captured and sent off from the Umschlagplatz, the train line adjoining one side of the ghetto, to various concentration and death camps. Then it took the German Wehrmacht forces to overrun and defeat countries such as France, which had professionally trained armies. The window sections at lower right were from this photo here with the man, and the whole center portion from the photo of the woman with the kind of knee-high boots, long coat, and kerchief or scarf. The it's like the section I did above the windows and balcony where she is from a different photograph from the same section. The drawing, by the way, is 50 inches wide by, I believe, 38 inches high, and for British and European audiences, 127 by 96.5 centimeters. And it was only exhibited once in 1992 at the fall at the Jewish Student Center Hillel by the UW University of Washington campus in Seattle, and perhaps sometimes when the first hopeful large exhibit gets organized with hopefully the entire series of 60 works so far, of which 57 are completely finished, including 4 large mosaic drawings. This will be framed and included. Some notes from probably 1999 when I set up my first website. At the time I worked on the drawing, it presented me with one overriding aesthetic concern, which I remember sweating over, at least metaphorically. How much background should I draw? And at one point I contemplated drawing in all the windows and bricks of the buildings behind the 2 men and the woman, but eventually I chose a mix of drawn image and white space. In fact, white space takes up probably far more than the drawn space. The reason is I wanted to evoke a mood. These people's lives, or they were eviscerated into smoke, with many of them being gassed and incinerated in the gas chambers. The photos appear in a number of books, among others the facsimile edition I bought of General Jürgen's Stroop report called the Stroop Report, The Jewish Quarter of Warsaw is No More. One of the intriguing things to me is how language repeats itself. Here's the same photo I showed in the Warsaw Ghetto 45th anniversary book, and the caption, as was written in ink in German, is translated as "Bandits jump to arrest." So in a number of the photographs, Stroop calls the people seen in the photographs Jews and bandits. It's very, very peculiar to me. Decades later, during the one of the Russian military campaigns to crush the uprising in Chechnya, the Russian press agency, the successor to TASS, the Soviet-era press agency, I remember, this must have been in the 1990s, I remember reading, probably in the New York Times, that the Russian press agency was referring to the bandits who were killed, the very same language that General Stroop used. Stroop, by the way, was convicted of war crimes by a U.S. military court in Dachau, Germany in 1947 and sentenced to death for having ordered the execution of captured U.S. Army Air Corps flyers. The sentence was not carried out for reasons I don't know, but later the U.S. Military sent him to Poland, where the U.S. kind of criminal justice figures who were involved in the post-World War II occupation and denazification of Germany and Austria. He was sent to Poland, where he was tried for war crimes, where he was convicted again by a Polish court, and he was hung for war crimes and crimes against humanity in 1951. That's it. There you have it. Thanks.